Welcome to the Wander Mode podcast, where we celebrate the fearless spirit of women embracing life's wanderings. Where every story is a spark of inspiration and reminds us that sometimes the most beautiful moments happen when we simply embrace wherever the journey may lead. If you clicked on this episode because you were curious about the title, you are thinking, yeah, I want to invite more money into my life, but I really don't like conversations about money. I don't like managing money. This is definitely the right conversation for you. I chatted with Erin Thompson, and Erin is a mom of 5. She also has multiple sources of income, and she is really all about the practical. How do you focus on time with family and friends, but have income coming into your life through multiple sources? She has a great resource that breaks all of your options down into even what the return on investment would be, what it is that you can expect from a time perspective, all of the right things that you need in order to get started in thinking about money a little bit differently. How can you manifest money into your life? Well, take a listen to this episode. Anytime I'm talking with a fellow entrepreneur about money on this podcast, I always have to chuckle because my money mindset is really terrible. Like when we talk money manifestations, I am like, yeah, I'm legitimately terrible about that. So I think a good place for us to start, mostly because I'm selfish and I want to get a lot out of this conversation too, is what money mindset shift has completely changed the game for you?
I used to have a different branding. I used to be the penny grower. And I totally made a shift even within my business because I got into this because I had a lot of financial knowledge. But then when I started digging into money mindset and like being in abundance and what does that mean? Because I was raised in scarcity. I can tell you that. Abundance is not like a natural thing for me. It's been a work in progress. But for me, what stood out, it was like the slap in the face that I needed was, wow, when you are focused on money stress and stressing about finances, are we going to make the bills? Can we do this? Can we do that? Oh, I don't know. I don't know if we have enough money. Like when you are in that place of lack, you are just inviting more money stress, more reasons to be stressed into your life. And that was like the switch flipped for me. Like, oh, what you focus on expands. And if I'm constantly focused on worry, of course I'm going to get more worry. So that was a huge shift for me. And I will say, I recently just got into like a manifestation program because I've come a long way, but there was still more that I think needed to be done. And it has been a breath of fresh air. I can't say enough good things about it. But yeah, taking all the concepts that I've been learning over the last 3 years and really diving into and like going so much deeper and harder, and just everything is energy. Money is numbers on a screen or it's paper in your hand, but there's an energy that comes along with it. I'm an engineer. That's what I went to school for. So I'm a total science nerd. The quantum mechanics and the energy of everything, and everything has energy, even inanimate objects, that kind of stuff. I totally geek out on that. And that has also helped me, I think, really get in on where my energy is and what I'm focusing on. That makes a world of difference.
So then I'm curious too, with you bringing up the whole quantum mechanics and the energy of things, do you think that in some ways our stress about money is something that we are literally bringing on ourselves? Like, does our mindset create the financial stress, which then creates the financial lack, etc.? Or is it the financial lack that creates our mental stress, which then brings it around again and again? What are your thoughts on that?
It's definitely a self-fulfilling prophecy for sure. Knowing what I know now about energy work, so whenever like hardship comes into your life, they call it contrast. So how you handle like energetically and emotionally, how you handle that contrast and what it's trying to teach you and tell you and propel you into, how you handle that has a lot to do with the outcome of that. So you may have been given a situation where some money stress hit you, right? Some strife, like now you have a reason to stress. If you stay in that place and dwell in that energy, then it's just going to keep coming. So maybe it did come in first before the money mindset and the not having the right money mindset. kind of took over and just kept the wheel rolling. But there is an option in the call that we just had today in this new manifestation group that I'm in. She said, you can do everything, every thought, every action, everything you do, you can do from an energy of having and abundance or an energy of not having. And I was like, whoo, like that gave me chills, because literally you can go to the store and you can spend a bunch of money in the mindset of, God, how am I, it's so much, like, I don't know if I can do this, maybe we can skip this or that or whatever. And it's all from a place of not having, versus you can go to the store and like, I'm so thankful that I have enough money to pay for these groceries, and just approaching it with that totally different mindset, it makes a world of difference.
Yeah, that's such an interesting approach to that, because it doesn't mean that you're magically going to have the income to pay for the extra things that you want, but rather being grateful for the things that you can purchase, even if that means you having to forgo a handful of things based on your grocery budget this week. And I think too, it's where it gets a little bit tricky, because let's manifest money into our lives. Okay, wink, wink. Like,
Right.
it just feels so inauthentic. It just feels like you're not acknowledging the fact that things are actually hard. It is actually hard to pay the bills. But to your point, it isn't about that difficulty not actually existing. It's the what are
Mhm.
you going to focus on and where you're going to put your energy. And I know that even for me, in leaving teaching and leaving this like solid W-2 income that you're used to getting every single month and becoming an entrepreneur, that was perhaps one of the bigger shocks to me is, oh, I haven't made any money for a few months. And oh my gosh, what is our runway here? How long can I do that before
Mhm.
I need to be getting something? I got so caught up in the not getting every single month
Mhm.
that I was beginning to wallow in it. And instead, it was no, I need to then go get creative. Where can I have flexible sources of income so that I
Mhm.
feel like I'm doing something, I'm earning something, but it's still allowing space for this other part of this business that I'm attempting to grow right now that isn't ready to gain
Yes.
income.
When you said, where can I look elsewhere, right? Because when you get curious, like that's a really good energy to be in. Instead of focusing on lack or negativity, get curious about what else you could be doing. What are my
Mhm.
options? What else is out there? What might be the best
Mm.
fit for me? And really leaning into that curiosity, because it's such a better energy than I can't. Like saying I can't do this or I can't do that, that's like locking yourself in a prison of I can't. It's so hard to get out of it. But energetically, just making that tiny shift to I wonder what can I do to get out of it? I wonder what else out there, and just starting to explore your options, and being curious and open to what you find. That's the key. And I
Mhm.
too was very like that's part of the reason why I got into this manifestation group, because I was very focused on looking at my reality and going, what's happening here? But one of the things that she has you start doing as a practice is called a watching it happen journal. Instead of
Mm.
waiting and like, why am I not making money? Or, why is this happening? Or why is that happening? That's not a great energy, right? Because you're staring at the physical reality of it not being what you want it to be. Kind of like if you talk about red cars, then all of a sudden you start seeing red cars everywhere, right?
Sure.
It's called your reticular activating system. It is focused on what is happening that is giving me evidence that it's happening. My manifestation is coming to me. And so that has
Mm.
been a huge shift for me too, I gotta say. And I knew all of these things were things that I talked about in my trainings in my group before. But I will say, getting into her program, she has said things in a different way, or maybe now I'm like ready to really hear it. I don't know what the difference is, but it is like slap me upside the face, and I'm like, okay, now I get it. I get it.
I hands down believe that sometimes we are not in a place to receive the information that we need to get ourselves unstuck. You have to kind of be in both places, not only able to hear it, but also able to do something about it. Not every idea is going to be successful. Not every idea is going to be the perfect fit. And so if you have these blocks or you're in these really negative places, it may also just be because something is not the right fit for you. And I think that that's the overwhelming part about entrepreneurship is it could be 100 different reasons why something isn't working. And
Mm-hmm.
I like that idea of journaling as you're going, because if you can actually come back and analyze, wow, this is what I'm seeing, or these are these trends, or when this thing took off, these are the three things that I did prior to that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fun, honestly. Every little tiny thing where you're like, ooh, I made a connection with so and so, and maybe that'll open up some doors. Who knows, right? And then this person introduced me to so and so, or oh, I got an email about this thing, and I've been thinking about it for a while. Just like all these little things that happen that normally, if you're not in I'm watching it happen mode, you're just like, oh, whatever, another email of my thousands, right? And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
when you're in this mode, you're like, ooh, maybe this means something. Maybe I'm supposed to do something with this. Maybe this is the universe pointing me in whatever direction that I'm meant to go. So it's fun. It's a way better energy to be in for sure. But then it also makes the journey more fun. And we're supposed to be enjoying the journey, right?
Yes. And the more that you're enjoying the journey, the more that that energizes you to then be able to problem solve and do things going forward. So I'm curious for you, where did you start? And when the energy really started to work in your favor, what were some of the avenues or income sources that all of a sudden the doors were opened to those things because you were in the right place mentally, physically at the time that those things were meant to come into your life?
So one that is kind of funny. My husband, he makes these reels and we have a classic car business. And so they started as like sort of little inside jokes with other mechanics, right? And
Yeah.
he started with that. And then it kind of evolved into parenting and marriage and just funny dad guy stuff, right? And he has grown quite a following from that. And he was invited to get in on this program with Facebook where for every however many views he gets paid. And I don't want to say without trying because he's making the reels consistently. That takes effort for sure. He's been doing it for, I think, 14 or 15 months now. Maybe only missing like a day or two here or there. He's really steadfastly been doing it. And that was really
Wow.
surprising. All of a sudden, we were bringing in a lot more money from that just because he was being consistent with it, right? So that was kind of fun. And then look at this just popped up for us.
That is so fun. And I don't like showing up for social media, so kudos to him. Like,
Either. Yes, I'm so proud of him because I've been on the struggle bus when it comes to social media. So yes, I'm so
yeah.
proud of him. And I like to brag him up whenever I can.
Oh, that's awesome. And a little bit of reinforcement or reinvigoration around, oh, okay, I'm going to keep doing this because now this is actually earning some income. So if he has that coming in, I know that you are a stock market trader. How do you stay on top of having lots of different avenues of income coming in, making sure that you aren't missing the boat on any particular thing that you're supposed to be doing?
I would say being organized helps. And because we do have several, that can be overwhelming. I'm a former to-do list addict where I would just like write things on my to-do list just so I could cross it off. But I'm trying to get better about these are the most important things, the closest alligators to the boat. And then just letting go of the rest. Because if I'm not careful, it can all pile up on me so much that I'm like, oh, I have to do this thing. And when you really take a step back and think about it, do I really need to do it? Who says I need to do it? Why do I feel like it needs to get done? Because I'm supposed to? Well, can that be left for later? Is that really is important? That's been a really important exercise for me to just forget the rest, right? Like
Yeah.
these are the things that will move the needle in my business. So I'm going to focus on these things today and just let the rest
Yeah.
go.
Especially because you also have 5 kids.
I do.
Like, yes. So, logistically speaking, you have 7 people living in your house and you're running multiple businesses. The reality is, even if you wanted to prioritize everything, you can't. And you homeschool in addition to it. So, that is such a good piece of advice of really honing in on what am I going to prioritize and what just needs to disappear for another day.
My son recently was like, because they want to start their own businesses, they see what I'm doing. And so I've helped them get businesses started, but it takes a lot more hand holding. I should have anticipated better from the beginning, but they're getting their little businesses set up. And then he changed his mind and now he wants to design a video game. And I'm like, do you know how long it takes to design a video game? I'm only one person.
Yeah.
But in a very loving way, it was just, okay,
Yes.
well, let's start doing some research. What do we need to know for that? But I'm trying to set expectations with him. He was like, so do you think we're going to like do that right after lunch? Do you think that's like a tomorrow thing? And I was like,
Maybe a next week thing. Like,
let me get some stuff taken care of. Holy cow.
My daughter, who is 4, and you have a 3-year-old, so
Mhm.
you can relate to this, but she's very much in the, "Well, how long is that gonna take?" "Oh, like 20 minutes." "That's gonna take forever." Their time clock is so dramatic. Like,
Yeah.
10 minutes is a long time. So you saying to your son, "We might need to, like, wait for tomorrow, we might need to wait for next week to happen," that's an eternity for a
Yeah.
kid. So hard for them to understand.
Yes. He was like,
Oh my gosh.
okay. And I'm like, we'll do it. But like,
Yeah.
just give me a minute.
We used to do this Shark Tank project. In my English language arts class, they had to do a presentation in front of these high school students who would come down and be our sharks. And I just remember having conversations with them around, so how much are you going to sell that product for? Well, I think I'll sell it for $3. Okay, great. Let's talk about some of the costs and what goes into actually making the product. How much is it going to cost you to make? Well, based on this, this, and this, it's going to be $5. Okay, so if you're selling it for 3, but it costs $5 to make, you're not
Hmm.
making any money. You're actually paying, like, out
Yeah.
of your own pocket to sell this item. So I can only imagine working with my own kid, because I was working with 28 of them, and it was like, holy Hannah. I love that though. Did you always have an entrepreneurial spirit? I
I
mean,
am from like blue collar USA, in, amongst the cornfields in Michigan, and generations of blue collar workers. My dad had his job and then he's like a farmer after hours kind of thing. So super work ethic, like you won't outwork me kind of a thing. I definitely was raised with that mentality. And I guess it's funny, my uncle was an entrepreneur, my dad's brother, but we never had conversations about it. Now, looking back, that I would have asked him more questions. Oh, well, how do you do this or that or whatever? So it's interesting. But yeah, other than my uncle, like everyone else in my family, you get a job. I was one of the first people in my family, like my big extended family, to go to college. So it's just different. Like I'm in a whole different place than I ever thought I would be growing up, I guess. But it's in a good
mhm.
way, because I think I'm a little neurodivergent. And so it's not that I ever really had an issue working for people, but I will say it feels so good to have my work directly benefit me and my family,
Mhm.
instead of in the corporate world. A lot of times there are people that want to take credit for your ideas, and it's just, it can be cutthroat at times, especially being like a woman in the engineering field. It's a lot of men, and
Mm.
just trying to hold my own in that space.
Yeah.
It was a great experience for what I'm doing now. That's part of the reason why I'm doing what I do now, because I was around men so much for so long. And it's like, I'm ready to help women. Let's collectively raise the species. Let's do that.
Mhm. This is probably an overgeneralization, but in general, I think that women struggle more with wanting to invite money into their lives. You read the articles about how women struggle more to ask for raises or to ask right out of the gate for an income that they feel like they deserve, compared to men going for similar positions and having a lot more confidence about what to ask for.
I think we struggle with our worth a little bit more, maybe, than men, that we're
Mhm.
worth as much as they are or more. But
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Similar to you, where everyone that I looked at growing up, they went, they got the job, they did the thing, and they retired when they were able to retire. And hopefully they had enough saved to be able to live a mostly comfortable life in retirement. And so there's also a little bit of this mentality in my mind too, of how can something that I create generate the same as what it would take for me to just go work for somebody else. And that's always where
Mhm.
my limiting beliefs have stemmed from. And that is a really, really hard mindset to overcome. And to your point, it is a little bit of a lack of self-worth to some level. It's like I consider myself a pretty confident person. I believe in myself, but at the same time, it's like that's that one limiting belief where it's just, it's so hard to overcome.
Yeah, I totally hear you.
You work with a lot of women on figuring out how to find avenues of income to invite more money in, but they're feeling stuck. What is a piece of advice that you would give them of a place to start?
I think a lot of people are probably scrolling, right? And they see, oh, do this, oh, do that. And it's like a million different opportunities,
Yeah.
right? And it's, oh, well, this one seems easy. I'm just going to do that. They just want the way that's going to make them money the quickest, which sounds super ironic, but that's not actually the way you want to go. Because
Mhm.
oftentimes those TikToks, it's a commercial. It's designed to make you go, oh, yes, I want that. Okay, I'm buying into what you're saying, right? So
Yeah.
a lot of times those creators are leaving out the nitty gritty details of how you get to do X, Y, or Z and make lots of money, right? So what I think really helps you get a jump on everyone else is by sitting back and thinking about, what are you good at? What do you enjoy doing? And like, what does the world need that can kind of pull in both of those elements? I think a lot of people sell themselves short on what life experience that they have had. And there are so many coaches out there who coach people through specific things that they need help with. People are willing to hire help for specific things if it's a big enough pain point for them. So one woman that I've met in my journey, she was someone who helped women who were going through ectopic pregnancy, which is super
Oh, wow.
specific. It's a whole scary thing if you have
Yes.
worried that it might be happening to you or it did happen to you. And you might be having all kinds of feelings, maybe some fears going forward, trying to have more kids, that kind of thing. So she helps women through that. And I think
Mm.
all of us have little things like that where we've gone through it and now we have some tools, right? Some keys that helped us get through it. And now we can turn around and help the people coming up with that same issue. Like, hey, I can help make your life easier because I
Yeah.
went through it too. I think
Yeah.
that's kind of the way that we all collectively just become a better human race, just helping each
Hmm.
other. And if we are able to prosper from that, that's how it's meant to be. I can help people with these tools, and these people are happy to pay me with these tools, right? So it's a win-win situation. That's what tapping into your gift or like what you were meant to do, that's what that is and where that comes from.
I couldn't agree with that more, of starting in that place of what are you good at and what does the world need, and not getting caught up in, well, yeah, but I already see a coach out there for this, or I already see a coach out there for that, because I've also had so many people tell me, but they're not you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just like there's different shoe brands, just like there's different versions of toilet paper, just like someone does paper towels and other people do reusable cloths in the kitchen. There's all sorts of different ways and reasons that one thing is right for you and another thing that is super similar isn't.
Right.
And you have to view coaching or putting yourself out there as sort of being the same thing. I'm not for everybody and not everybody is for me, but that's okay.
Absolutely. And that honestly, that's
Yeah.
been one of the big hurdles for me because I'm like people pleaser to my core. The thought of somebody not liking me, just like, oh, I can't like, so that has been some of the big growth that I have done since I've stepped into the entrepreneurial world. Like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, you're right. I'm not for everyone, and that's okay. There's lots
Yep.
of other people out there though that might be able to support them
Yes.
better. And I think everybody should get support from the person that resonates most with them. So
Mhm.
genuinely, if people are, no, she's not for me, that's great. I'm happy that you are taking a step towards figuring out what is good for you. You know what I mean?
Yes. And ultimately, to get to the goal for yourself and the goal for your client, it is to everybody's best interest to make sure that you are, in fact, aligned. And I think, especially as a new entrepreneur, that's really hard to tell yourself because, again, coming back to that scarcity mindset is, well, I have to take every client I can get. And it's like, no, 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 no,
Mm,
no, no. Because if you take the wrong type of client, you're wrong for them, they're wrong for you. You're not going to ultimately get to the goals for either of you anyways. Yeah.
and it's this
Mhm.
headache the whole time because you're like, you
Yes.
like dread working with that person because it's
Yes.
just not a good fit. Yeah, absolutely.
And then your energy shifts and all the
Yes.
things.
Yes.
All
So
the
yeah,
things.
and I heard that early on. Like, if you can go into sales conversations or just talking with anybody, but with that confident air of, I don't need this person, but if they're
Mhm.
interested, that's amazing. Let's connect. I want to be bringing all the people in who love me and like
Yeah.
what I'm doing, right? But if they don't, that's okay. That energy is what is going to help make a
Mhm.
difference, I think, in sales conversations and getting people into your space and what you have to
Yes.
offer. And I'm a firm believer in like leaving people better than you found them. So
Mhm.
that's why, absolutely, if you don't feel like we're a good fit, please, I'll help give you references to people that I know because maybe they'll be a better
Yeah.
fit for you, type of thing. Yeah.
Love it. So, where can people find you, Erin, if they wanted to reach out to you to learn how they can invite more money in their lives, if they want to start brainstorming or narrowing down what their options are? Where's the best place for them to go?
I would say my Facebook group is just invite money into your life, just like my brand. I am not super great, as we discussed, about my social media presence, but I'm in the group every week. I do weekly trainings on money mindset topics like this. And lots of different money topics, things that people are scared to ask about. Like, you get to a certain age and you're like, God, I feel like I should know what this is, but I don't know what this is. And you Google, but sometimes the words are confusing still. So I like to break things down and make it easy. It doesn't have to be intimidating. It doesn't have to be this thing, right? But
Yeah.
encouraging also letting women know what avenues there are out there for multiple income streams. I have a free resource that's 101 different income streams, and there's a lot out there, and it can be a little overwhelming to get through it. So I also help people figure out what is the best avenue for them, because yeah, some people are like, okay, that's great, but that's a lot.
I have Erin's free resource. What I loved so much about what you did is instead of just giving this bulleted list of 101 things, you broke it down from the return on your investment to the length of time that something would take for you to actually even see progress. You really broke it down to very tangible things. It was awesome. So
Thank
we'll
you.
definitely be sure to have that in the show notes.
Thank you. Yes, that was my
Yeah.
goal. Like,
Yeah.
I want to make it easy for people. I don't want you to feel like you have to then do hours of Googling after you get the
Yeah.
thing to figure out, okay,
Yes.
what does all this mean?
So cool. Well, thank you so much, Erin, for being on today. I loved the conversation.
Thank you so much. It was a delight to be here. I'm so happy that we got to do this.
Thanks for wandering with me today. If you were inspired by this episode and think it would ignite a spark in a friend, don't hesitate to share. And if you're craving more from the Wander Mode community, hop on over to Instagram at WanderModeCo. Meet you in the next episode, and until then, wander on.